Oracles of Olympus. Welcome to Oracles of Olympus, the podcast of all things in miniature wargaming, role-playing, board games, and general nerd culture, all with a taste of cynicism, sarcasm, and nerdy banter. Please join Kyle, Ryan, CJ, and GM Drew as we break down all the stuff.
Welcome to episode 13 of Oracles of Olympus.
This is the lucky episode.
Yep, Lucky 13s.
Do you ever miss Lucky 13s?
I do miss Lucky 13s.
Yeah. I still have the patch.
What's Lucky 13s?
It's an old G-Dubs event.
Oh.
Yeah.
They gave patches.
It was really cool. It was like a campaign they did one time.
Yeah, there was a guard regiment called the Lucky 13s.
This is like a decade ago.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kyle.
This is CJ.
This is Ryan.
I'm GM Drew, and we're here for... It will never get old.
It never does.
Every time I think I'm not going to laugh anymore, I do.
Right.
And it's funny.
I bet you are, GM Drew. Bet you are.
Oh, boy. So let's dive right into new stuff that came out this week. Idoneth Deepkin came out Saturday.
How much time do we have for that? Because holy shit.
Not a lot, but some.
Incorrect. All the time. Idoneth Deepkin came out yesterday for us, which was Saturday. They are the new aquatic mer elves with.
Don't you mean murder elves?
They are murder elves. Yeah, they're really good.
This book seems ridiculous. It's as far as AOS books go. Every time I get a new AOS book, I look through it. I'm like, this is kind of good. This seems like this could work. Never have I got a book where I went through and I was like, holy shit, everything in here seems good.
Yeah, I was like trying to find like what's the thing that no one's gonna want to use, and nope, there isn't one. You're just gonna your only limitation here is your wallet.
And
how much
what
Namarti
they're
did we sell yesterday?
We sold 12 boxes of Namarti Thralls, which is
Thralls.
like the Namarti Thralls for if you don't play Age of Sigmar. The Namarti Thralls are like the basic troops of the army.
From a store perspective, that's unheard of. I don't think we've ever sold, to my knowledge, that many like basic trooper boxes on a release.
We might have gotten somewhere in that neighborhood with like Primaris Marines, but
it's rare.
it would have been split over like 3 boxes, not one.
Yeah,
like all the different types.
Normally,
of
if you sell like 6, that's really good. On a release
right.
weekend.
And everybody and their brother is sold out of these guys.
Yeah.
We have like a little bit left.
Games Workshop's even telling us like this went really well.
Yeah, right. They send so we get an email every week about like what's coming out next week. And on this one, they like watermarked it like the initial release for Idoneth Deepkin went really good. Keep it up, like
Remind people they need to keep working on those armies.
Why do you think it's so popular?
Well, let's start with the fact that they look badass.
They do.
They
do look cool.
They are fucking sweet looking.
Something that jumped out to me that I was talking to Kyle about the other day is that I really think something that Games Workshop is doing very well with Age of Sigmar is there's so much fantasy out there in fantasy games, and it's very easy to have your game kind of become just another, rebrand
Generic.
of Tolkien.
Yeah,
generic.
Tolkien
I have
kind of
dwarves in
fantasy.
armor and beards. I have elves with bows. They move really fast.
Right.
And Games Workshop has totally said, look, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to truly create our own unique world with our own unique races. And I think they pulled it off.
Like aquatic elves and sky pirate dwarves
Yeah.
and all sorts of crazy shit. 9 foot tall recast humans, like
Basically Ryan in armor.
Ryan in armor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Full plate Big Swole.
Full plate Big Swole. He's reforged. He's ready to hit you with a hammer.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there'll be a lightning blast when he does.
Seems reasonable.
This turtle's awesome.
Yeah, the turtle.
Sorry, I'm looking at the book.
It's fine.
It's an Achetan Leviathan, thank you. So the whole army seems really, really good. Let's not even mention the fact that they're all ridiculously beautiful. Because if you've ever said, you know what my miniature games are missing? Giant eels and shark riders. Like, fucking
Sharknado is now real.
Problem solved.
Yeah.
There's an actual
There's
Sharknado.
an actual
ability in this
Sharknado
thing.
now. Did you want sharks flying through the air ridden by elves? This is your army.
Yeah, we got you covered here.
Do you want like electric eel riders? Deal.
Got that too.
Done.
Yep.
Do you want an underwater unicorn? Because they also have that. They're called deep mares.
Yep.
Yep.
They're
That's a real
phenomenal.
thing.
They have a Gloomtide shipwreck.
Yeah,
Yes.
the shipwrecks are actually really cool. The shipwrecks do quite a bit for the army. Kind of on their base level, they make your guys tougher whilst hurting enemy guys on the battlefield, which is kind of cool.
And you get to just place 2 of them for free on the battlefield.
Yeah,
It's like
and you can
woods
split
for
each
Sylvanas.
one into 2 pieces, so you can kind of get 4 chunks of this stuff on the battlefield. They're really good.
Some of the rules, I mean, I think, it was spoiled for anybody that was watching them, but having to shoot the closest unit makes a huge difference to shooting armies. It really changes the effect of the
I think
game.
the big thing it does is it lets you hide your characters, which this army's got a lot of characters. I think no matter how you build it, it's going to have, probably 3 or 4 characters in it. So the ability to be able to hide those guys, because most of the characters here are buffers, the ability to be able to hide those guys is huge.
Yes.
Huge, because you can't normally hide things like that in AOS, so buffer characters can be picked out, but not with the Idoneth. They have an ability to get rid of that.
Also, something that didn't get leaked is their prayers.
The prayers did not get leaked. The prayers do seem pretty good. Honestly, I guess the part of the book that I keep coming back to are just the Namarti Thralls. They're the basic infantry unit of the book, the guys that we sold a ton of. They are just ridiculously good. They're 140 points for 10, so a little bit more expensive than your normal battle line. But the first 10 guys, you've got 21 attacks with those guys. They hit on 3s, they wound on 3s, AP -1, and they do 1 damage. If the unit that they're fighting has a wound characteristic of 1, they get a bonus attack per guy, so all of a sudden you shoots up to 31 attacks. If the unit they're fighting has a wound characteristic of 4 or more, then their weapons become 2 damage each.
They seem
these are literally the
obscenely good
core, right?
for core troops.
They're just the core generic dudes in this army, and they are crazy good.
You can bring them back from the dead. You can add
bring them
models
back.
with different
the
characters.
only kind of drawback to the Namarti in my mind is they're not very heavily armored, and they're
not very brave.
They're not very brave. They're only bravery 6, so if they take a lot of losses, they will flee. But
Back to the water.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about these guys. If you haven't checked them out, I highly recommend it. They literally bring their ocean with them via magic. So there's an actual tide effect, which, if you've seen any of the stuff for these guys, you probably have seen, they actually have rules that each turn get progressively stronger as the tide comes in, and then it hits it kind of a crescendo at high tide, and then the rules start going back down as the tide fades back out.
Also, I liked how you could give your allies the ability to access that tide.
You can, if you play one of the different covens of Idoneth, the Iron Rock, which are kind of the studio Idoneth, they can pass those tide abilities onto their allies.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
It's definitely cool.
It's real
Yeah.
cool.
The army has a lot of really interesting stuff. I mean, you can build a really big horde infantry army that's really scary. You can build a super crazy fast cavalry army in here. There's a good variety of
I think
options.
the hardest thing in building this army is going to be, I think it's 2 things. One, how do you want to build it? Because I feel like if you just took random stuff, it's going to be crap. It's not gonna be a good army.
I do think that this army is going to
needs
need
to
a
be
bit
focused.
of it's going to need a bit of direction. You can't just grab one of everything and be like army. It's not.
No.
It's not Stormcast Eternals.
It's not Stormcast Eternals.
It's not as easy.
And I also think that it has so many overlapping abilities that affect
does.
other models that you could very much, especially if you were playing, a somewhat competitive game, you could very inadvertently forget to keep one unit in range and your whole freaking strategy falls apart.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be if you are so for instance, if you're a fan of playing Magic the Gathering or kind of synergy based games like that, this is totally going to be your army.
Yeah.
It's a very synergy heavy army. You're going to want to keep lots of different things in support bubbles. You're going to want to keep guys, just to throw out
Near
different
shipwrecks.
spells. Yeah. There's a lot of bonuses you can stack with this army if things are in the right place at the right time. It's going to be I think it's going to be the biggest challenge, is remembering to get all your bonuses lined up and remembering them.
And something I think in it that's kind of cool is that GW actually puts a tactics section into this book.
Yeah, that was neat.
They don't always do that with every book, and I think in the past a lot of people kind of GW tactics are kind of considered laughable because that's not really what they're about.
Right.
And they tell you that. But I think we're seeing a little bit of a shift in the company in the fact that they at least acknowledge that there are tactics and there are people that want to play this competitively. And then I think the other thing that is kind of interesting about them is that they I feel like they really want to play off of basic concepts, off of stuff that, if I go for this goal, it's going to work. And I'll give you an example. And this is something they pointed out in the GW Tactics section. If you're trying to win objective missions, they said, just throw your shipwrecks right next to the objective. Because all of a sudden you're hurting any of the enemy models that come to get the objective, and your guys holding the objective are more they basically have like a 6-up feel no pain. They basically can survive better. So, it's kind of a general concept. They said versus if you're trying to hold your zones, put your shipwrecks in your zones. So there's some very basic themes you can follow and then build around.
Yeah, they've definitely got a lot of really cool board presence abilities with those shipwrecks.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing those. I think it's going to be a very beautiful army on the tabletop. I think it's going to be really fun, and I think it's going to really change how AOS is played. I think that these guys are going to really make people rethink kind of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because they are so different from a lot of the other armies. And because of that, the shooting ability, definitely nice. There's not, there's a lot of melee armies in AOS, so I don't think it's necessarily the biggest game changer. But the fact that these guys have their tide abilities and kind of what those abilities let them do, and that they've got kind of like this building thing where they're, leading up to basically turn 3, where they just get to every one of their units just gets to fight before any enemy units on turn 3. Mm-hmm. That's crazy big. That is, if you're the Idoneth player, top of turn 3, you get to make all your charges. All of your guys fight first. Then on your opponent's turn 3, all of your guys fight first again. That's colossal, especially with, units like the Namarti, units like the Giant Turtle. The Giant Turtle's disgusting in combat. Mm-hmm. And even the Cavalry, too, are really, really good in combat. So I think it's a big, big deal to have kind of some of these different abilities. And I think it's going to shift how people plan to play with their armies. So it's going to be interesting to see what that does.
Okay. I think it's going to be real interesting.
Absolutely.
Cool. What's next on tap for Warhammer AOS release?
Yeah, so more Idoneth, right?
Yeah.
So we've got, so far this week, we got the Eidolon, we got Lotan, who's one of the sorcerers, and we got the Namarti Thrall unit. Now we're going to get the Namarti Reavers, which are the bow-armed Namarti, and we're going to get, I believe, the general on Deepmare, which can also be made into Volturnos, who's the king of the Idoneth. So, a little more Idoneth. I expect we'll see Idoneth releases for the next 3 weeks.
Cool.
But yeah, it should be pretty sweet.
All right. We did get a street date for Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, which is D&D's newest book that's coming out. It will be available at our shop on May the 18th. And we're encouraging everybody to please pre-order a copy if you'd like to get that on the day. Otherwise, you may be waiting.
You might be waiting.
We have had a pretty decent amount of pre-orders for it.
Yeah.
I know that we're already out of the special edition. Those, we've already got as many as we can get on those. So that's definitely already done.
So it's a Tome of Foes, so big book of bad monsters, but I'm reading there's a lot of alternate race options for players to take in the vein of monsters. They did release, sorry, I'm trying to find it here, the Astral Dreadnought stats, which is a CR20 creature. CR21, excuse me. Astral Dreadnought. 297 hit points.
297 hit points?
Mm-hmm.
If you're an aspiring DM and you want to just really, really, end your game in a way that there's just no coming back from, Astral Dreadnoughts, guys. If you just said, if you wake up one morning before your game and you go, you know what, today I'd like to shit on my players. I'd like to just shit all over their hopes and dreams. I'm done writing this fucking story. I need to kill them. Well, I've got a thing for you. It's called the Astral Dreadnought.
Yeah. Much like the Necklace of Fireballs that's in Tomb of Annihilation, which killed an entire table at our shop this month. So, good job.
Yes. Absolutely.
So that's it for the new stuff that we want to talk about. Let's talk about goings on at the shop that's been happening. Legion is in the middle of their league.
Yes, Legion is in the middle of their league right now. It has been a ton of fun. The sad part for me as a shop owner is that I've been too busy helping ring people up and sell Legion to play in Legion as much as I'd like, so that's kind of sad. But I did Thursday get in several games, 3 games precisely of Legion, much to Kyle's disappointment because I may have stood him up.
Yep. We were waiting to practice games, and CJ's like, oh, well, I told Danny I'd play a game. And I was like, I thought we were playing games. And he's like, well, I'll just play this one game. And I was like, okay. 3 games later, CJ's like, oh, no, I forgot about all that.
It's all about
son of a bitch.
Customer service, Kyle.
It is about customer. Don't even give me that bullshit.
I wanted to make sure
you should see the shitty smirk he's wearing right now, because that is some horse shit right there.
I wanted to make sure our customers like Ken and Chris felt taken care of, and they needed to get games in.
Yeah, because Ken and Chris couldn't have played each other.
They could have.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So
are you playing Imperial?
I am playing Imperials.
How are you doing?
Is there anything else, really?
I mean, here's the thing. I believe in Law and Order. I like fighting terrorism. Basically, when I'm battling the rebels, every time they come around a building, I hear in my head, like, Allah Akbar! And, like, my stormtroopers are like, gun them down! So, we're bringing freedom back to the galaxy, one dead rebel squad at a time. And so, yes, I am an Imperial man, although I have been known to occasionally fight rebels, but I consider myself a double agent when I do that. I'm sorry, play as rebels. But, yes, they are, I'm not going to lie, Imperials are having a little bit of a hard time. I don't know why, to be honest. I think part of it is, and nothing against my fellow Imperial commanders, but I think some of our better players have chosen, as far as like they're a little more tactical. Some of our guys in X-Wing that tend to be very tactical in how they play X-Wing have chosen to play Rebels. I think initially because before we started playing the game, the thought kind of was, and early on, that the Rebels were very much the underpowered faction, and they'd be a little more finessey. So I think a lot of our top players, either because they wanted the challenge, or maybe they just really like Rebels personally, decided to play them. So I think that's one factor. We have some very good players playing Rebels. And you know, the Empire does have a lot of nepotism, so we sometimes don't have the strongest commanders. No offense, all my fellow Imperial commanders, we will return to victory, me included.
General Veers is coming with his binoculars. He'll help you out.
Yes, thank God. General Veers is arriving this coming week. He will be out the week you listen to this, so it's going to be awesome to have a command. Because look, Darth Vader is basically 200 points. And to really play Darth Vader, you should be spending like 220, 225 on him in points. So he's expensive. I mean, when you're playing, we've been playing 500-point games, he's basically half your list. Now, don't get me wrong, Lord Vader is a murder machine. He basically just walks up the field and just fucking kills anything he runs across. But General Veers, I think, is going to allow the Imperials to have a little more, like, we're not going to be as hobbled, like, you have to have Vader no matter what. So now we'll actually be able to have some Stormtrooper builds, some ATST builds, because Veers is not that expensive. I think he's like 80 points. So I think maybe Imperials, at least I know personally, I'm working on trying to reassess my tactics a little bit. I do think the speeder bikes are really good. The scout troopers on speeders are real good. Yeah. They're fast, they hit heavy, they get a free cover, which lets you just ignore a hit every turn, every time they get shot at. They can't be suppressed.
Is that because they're going so fast?
Yes, it represents how fast they're going. They always have to have a minimum movement 2 of 3. So overall, I think the scout troops are good. I read some tactics articles that people were working on Bella Lost Souls on Stormtroopers. And you know, a lot of the thoughts on Stormtroopers is they have some of the best armor saves in the game. Just run them bad boys right up the middle. Hey, diddle diddle, right up the middle. There you go. And you put them on an objective and you dare the rebels to do something about it. As long as they don't run into Luke Skywalker, they should be good. If they run into Luke, they're going to have a bad day. But overall, yeah, I think... And here's the thing. I think the game right now is still in its infancy. We don't have a lot of options, right? I mean, there's like Imperials have Stormtroopers, Vader, Scout Troops, ATST. So they have 4 options right now. Veers gives us 5. The Rebels are going to get a lot more because they're getting Fleet Troopers, they're going to get Commandos, they've got Han and Leia announced. So the Rebels, I think, are actually up on the Imperials a little bit in availability of units. The Snowtroopers will help a little bit, but frankly, I don't think the Snowtroopers are going to change the meta a lot. They're a slower moving Stormtrooper.
Do they shoot better?
I don't think so.
Which is the slower moving stormtrooper? Sorry.
Snowtroopers.
Snowtroopers? Got
Yeah.
it. Okay.
They have some cool weapon options. Flamethrowers in this game are friggin' fantastic. Basically, they allow no cover, and you roll 2 dice per guy they have in their unit. Like, I was playing a flamethrower the other day on an ATRT and just murdered an entire squad. Like, every dude dead with one shot.
Turns out flamethrowers are pretty good at killing people.
They're real good at killing people. Super good at it, in
illegal
fact.
now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, illegal.
Yeah.
They're illegal.
I don't really care about the legality of it, I guess. I mean, the flamethrower, like if we're talking about actuality, seems kind of, I guess, dwarfed in sheer murder by the thermobaric bomb. Flamethrower, really cool. One of my favorite things of all time. But a bomb that literally turns the air you're breathing into fire. It's pretty fucking great.
It is. It really is.
It's like making a flamethrower that just hits everything.
Hey, guess
pretty
what?
sweet.
Would you like to breathe fire? No,
no.
not really. Too bad!
Yeah, right? Nope. Everything is fire. How about having the water in your eyes boil?
Yeah.
Your existence
You're gonna have
is
a
now
good time.
pain.
It's real bad.
So, yes. And I think we'll actually maybe get the illustrious Kyle playing when Snowtroopers come out.
Yes, my plan is to play when Snowtroopers come out because I want to do an army that isn't the... the stuff in the starter set is cool. It just didn't speak to me as much as the Snowtroopers because I feel like I can do some really fun stuff with the painting on those.
Yeah.
So I was extra crushed and disappointed to learn that this week we get General Veers, but Snowtroopers have been delayed for some reason. So it's,
Shocker.
it's cool. I'll just sit here and wait patiently.
Like, you mean Fantasy Flight is late getting something out?
Yeah,
Say
right.
it's so.
That's one of the things I just never understood because like Fantasy Flight used to distribute themselves, and it's gotten worse since they went exclusive to one distributor who isn't themselves. I don't know why they did that.
I don't know why they did that either.
Because I feel like it's really slowed down their chain of distribution, and man, that sucks.
If you don't buy from Alliance, you don't buy Fantasy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm not a very patient guy. I don't like waiting for things, so it makes me really sad when I have to wait more for.
Well, and I
Stormtroopers.
think part of the phenomenon is, because I was thinking about this, I'm like, why don't people get as angry at Games Workshop over the release schedule? Well, and so I was actually putting some real thought into it, and what I came to is Games Workshop doesn't tell you what they're going to release very far out. It's like you get a couple week lead, and it's coming out, and by the time they tell you it's coming out, it's already sitting in their warehouses, ready to go.
Oh, by the time GW tells
Yeah.
you? I guarantee you it is, yeah. And I mean...
They'll tease it a little bit, but they don't really tell you what's coming.
In all fairness to FFG, GW has been around for like 40 years, so it's not like they have not had their own fair share of terrible shipping and all kinds of other shit.
In FFG,
They've just had a lot of time to deal with that stuff. That's
Well,
all.
and I remember a time in 40K, back with the old Games Workshop, where we got essentially a new codex every 3 months, and it would alternate between 40K fantasy. So, like every 3 months, either a fantasy or a 40K book would come out, and they'd rotate. And so, like, if neither of the 40K books you were really excited about came out that year, you're just like, okay, this isn't my year, I guess.
Yeah, right.
That's awful.
That was the old GW. When I was
Dang.
playing in back like 4th, 5th edition, that was normal. I mean, like, if you saw like an extra 5th thing come out in a year, you'd be like, oh my god, this is crazy. So I think part of the reason people get so pissed at Fantasy Flight is that they do preview stuff literally months out.
They do, yeah.
And so you know what's coming, but you can't play with it yet.
Yeah, it's good and it's bad,
It's
right?
good
Like,
and it's
I think it's good because, I want to know what's coming out so I can start thinking about it and planning and saving for it. It's also bad because I just don't want to wait another 8 goddamn months.
Yes.
It's little column A, little column B.
Yep.
I guess it's kind of like on some level it's a good problem to have, right? Like I wouldn't be mad at Fantasy Flight for being slow if I didn't love their shit, right? I'm unabashedly love Fantasy Flight and their products. Their distribution chain makes me want to pull my hair out, as both a customer and a retailer.
Everything.
But I do love their product. Yeah, it's all good, right?
Their
Like they don't make
games are great.
Yeah,
The
they
Star
really
Wars
don't make
IP
bad
is great.
stuff.
And something that they never shirk on, no matter what, is the quality. You cannot ever say that the quality is poor with the Fantasy Flight products. The
At least
card
not in the
stock's
last, like, 10
consistent.
years.
No, it isn't.
They make the best tokens in the league.
They do
They
make
make
the best tokens.
they make all of the tokens. Jesus,
And
that's
then-
like there's like some sort of token fetishist at Fantasy Flight. He's like they've got like a token quality assurance guy. Like, all right, Bill, here's the game as we think it should go. And he looks at it, he's like, no, needs more tokens.
More tokens.
There's only I see 17 different types of token, but That's just not enough, guys. Like, I need 2 whole cardboard sheets full of just wound tokens. Like,
how is somebody going to remember they're going to get to reroll to hit this turn if there's not a token?
If there's not a token for every status effect, that we're building a fucking monument to compromise. Like, that's that guy's whole job, right? Like, and it's not necessarily a bad job, It's just really fucking love tokens.
He's like, oh boy, we got a lot of work to do when a new game gets across his desk.
Right.
It's like, we've only got about half the tokens we need for this baby.
We're gonna need more components. Oh my god.
Pushes up glasses.
Yeah, right.
We've
Straightens
got
pocket protector.
the Legion tournament on May 6th.
Yes, we have Legion. So that's going to be a busy 4 days because we have May the 4th.
Yes.
Which is there anything going on for May the 4th?
May the 4th be with you. It's Star Wars Day. We don't have anything
I don't think we
specific
have
on that
anything
day.
going on, no. Because the next 2 days are very busy.
Yeah, May the 5th is free comic book day, which if you haven't been to, I highly recommend. It's pretty sweet.
Comics.
Yay, free comics. Yeah, we'll have some sales and stuff like that too.
Yep.
And then the day after is Legion tournament.
Yep, Legion tournament, which I'm still trying to figure out how to get my terrain ready for. Oh my god. One of you needs to help me. I'm setting up smoke signals.
What do you mean?
We don't have any terrain for Legion.
If anybody'd like to help,
mats that are the
What?
right
We have well, the mats is the thing, but we have totally terrain for Legion because the Dead Zone stuff would work just fine.
The Dead Zone will work
Dead
fine.
Zone is like the most generic
It is.
sci-fi
Dead Zone
terrain
will
ever.
work
It
okay.
literally looks good with any sci-fi game.
But like the token guy Fantasy Flight, I don't want to build a monument to compromise.
Well,
I
limited amount of time. I don't know.
I know. I'm working on getting us a couple new mats. That'll be cool.
Is it? Are you playing on 3x3s or is it 3x6s?
No, 3x6s. We have to.
There's your first problem.
I know.
You need to play a smaller tournament. 3x3s, we could do like a lot more tables.
Yeah, I know, but we can't for that because it has to be on a 3x6 for the size of game we're playing.
I just want to throw this
Fantasy
out there.
Flight says so.
Fantasy Flight, the one thing you do that does piss me the fuck off is make 3x3 mats.
Yes.
God damn it. Yeah. Why aren't they just 4x4 like everything else?
Right? They
Sons
have
of
made
bitches.
our lives so fucking difficult to shop owners by making them 3-foot wide mats.
It's like a little gripe, and I'm sure it doesn't occur to a lot of like if X-Wing and like Armada and Legion are your games, if those are the things you play normally and you don't play other miniature games, then I'm sure it doesn't even occur.
Literally
it's
no
just
other
kinda
miniature
normal.
game out there.
Yeah, not another game in the goddamn world. None of them use 3x3.
Every other
why?
standard is 4x4.
money.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I
gotta
do
buy
think,
our mats.
And then
I do have this one thing to say too. Like I do think you're right. It is a money thing.
It is totally.
It does. I did learn that official FFG events you have to use official FFG mats.
Yes.
Meaning you can't use any of the beautiful frontline gaming mats, and that is fucking dumb.
It is dumb.
That really makes me frustrated because like that is basically like a. It's kind of like a not only just like in my mind kind of a money grab on the player. It's a money grab on stores more than anything.
Yeah.
It's kind of a middle finger to the other people.
It's sort of it is a big middle finger to anybody else producing mats. So I'll pull back the curtain here a little bit and just give you guys a quick idea of kind of how things work. Right. So like if you were to go in and right now like buy a Star Wars mat, we would sell that for $39.95. We pay $29.95. That is not normal. That is not normal in our industry. It's really bad. And I want to make it really clear that is a new development. We used to pay $39.95 and then have to sell them either at $39.95 or marked up higher.
Yeah.
FFG used to just say, "Nah, you're just going to pay what everyone else pays for these because you have to have them." Mm-hmm. That I'm not a big fan of that because that's kind of like highway robbery in my mind. Which opened up the door for like all these other third party companies like Fat Mats and Frontline
Which
Gaming.
I think FFG had to see, and they're like, well,
yeah,
shit.
and those guys make great mats. All of our
do.
other mats are Frontline Gaming mats.
Yes.
Like we've got a ton of them. They're beautiful.
Well, and
And then I think FFG was like, well, I know how to fix this problem. We'll just force people to use ours, which
That's
makes
so
me
dumb. That's like D&D, like WotC coming down and saying,
Yeah.
if you want to play D&D, you have to use our maps.
And
Right.
it's something
That's so
that
stupid.
I didn't know until I went to some of the higher level events, and I noticed I'm like every single mat they're using is a FFG Star X-Wing mat with just the Starfield.
right.
And then I was at some other events where they had set up some non-FFG mats, and some people said like, "Hey, no, I don't want to play on this one." It's for whatever reason, to me, it's a 3x3 is a 3x3 is a 3x3. Like,
Right.
If what's on the background distracts you, then be a better X-Wing player. I'm sorry. Like,
I
'Cause
can't
was at
focus
one event-
because of the
It's
pretty
just a
picture.
mat to tell you
I
where
was
the boundaries
I was
are.
down in Colorado at
Yeah.
one event, and they had a non-FFG mat set up, and it had asteroids on it.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, "Those asteroids are going to confuse me as to which are the real ones and which are the fake ones." And so they pulled it, and I was like, "That's fucking stupid. Learn.
That is dumb.
That's why you're a human. You have depth perception.
Right? Yeah,
This
like
one's
the
raised.
asteroids are literally raised tokens. Like,
Yes.
And here's the thing: everyone knows the 6 asteroid tokens. Man, there's only fucking 6 of them.
Yes. Well, and to add insult to injury, we can't even really get a lot of the FFG mats.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, like everything else in FFG supply chain, they're like fucking really difficult to get because there's
Like they
to-
didn't
to
even
give
come out
you-
with the Legion mats on the friggin'
So
release.
give you an idea-
yesterday you had a tournament. What kind of mats did you use for 40K?
That was Drew's very subtle transition.
for 40K. We used FLG mats.
Awesome.
Like
We did.
how did that tournament go?
it was great. We had a great turnout. We had 22 players. Which was nice. We had players come up all the way from Colorado Springs. We had players from Denver. We had players from Laramie. So it's great. We had 22 people for our random gentleman's tournament that we put up. Literally, it was 8 players short of being a GT event. Mm-hmm. We
It was
almost
really-
had a random GT happen.
And we frankly couldn't have accommodated it.
We couldn't have
much-
accommodated a
maybe
GT. Not with
2 more.
Not with pre-release. We
Not
could
with
we could
pre-release.
have put up more.
If we had
could've
moved some
stretched it,
shelving
but-
and moved some product, we could have got one more table into 24, but that would have been literally it. Like,
Yeah.
Well, especially since we were having Magic going on at the
Right,
same
exactly.
time.
Yeah, we could have put in enough tables to get to 30 if we didn't have,
Magic.
pre-release going on, which is by no
Would've been
means
insane.
Yeah, by no means me saying I didn't want to have pre-release because that was great too. But
I don't know if we would have enough. I don't think we had enough train for 30.
yeah, we could have done it. It would have been some unpainted.
would've been-
It would have been some unpainted train, which would have
And
been
it would have been sparser. on
It
a
would
lot
have
of
done- yeah, we
that.
definitely
would
would
have
have
to
to
pull
thin them
some
out.
from some of the thick ones.
But we could have done it. I don't know.
But
I'm glad we didn't have
Our
to.
victor, shout out to Trent Eastman.
Yep, playing some Eldar.
Playing some Eldar. He won the whole thing. With just, I wouldn't say it was not a meta list. It was not an over the top list. It was just a solid Elder list.
So it was a couple Wave Serpents,
Some Howling Banshees,
yeah,
Guardians.
a couple squads
he had a
of
Wraith
Guardians,
Lord.
couple squads of Howling Banshees and Wraith Lord, and like a Farseer.
And he fought
And an Arcturk.
Richard Coles, or as many of you may know him, Angry Richard the Butcher,
Yep.
for first place.
He did.
And Richard was playing Orcs, so shout out to Richard for doing so well with Orcs.
Yeah, they're not an easy faction to win with.
No.
So they definitely are challenging.
Then Will Corden did pretty darn good too with his Demon Army.
Yeah, Will did really good, and also a shout out to Will and to Nick Cadman, our top 2 for painting.
Yeah.
Beautiful armies, man. Those guys always they always
tied
put down,
on painting.
Yeah,
it was
they
a dead
tie.
tie by our Matrix.
They always put down really good looking models. So
and they've
it's always
both
a
won
treat to
painting
see 'em.
awards before with us.
Yeah, they have both won
So,
best painted in our events before.
We ended up
with
getting
different armies.
you
So.
pull the curtain back. Because Kyle and I couldn't decide which one was better, so we got one of our employees who doesn't normally do paint judging or is involved with Warhammer. We're like, go look at these and tell us which one you like a little bit better.
Right.
And Will Corden won because of quote the slimy bases. So
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was, and they're really nice bases.
They are
like
really nice
they
bases.
definitely have. I think they have definitely pushed Will's army over the top more than once.
but what's
those
with people
bases.
not bringing scenery boards?
Right, so that's kind of like one of my. So there's a couple takeaways I got. So this is the first time we really ran a full ITC tournament.
Yeah, which is great. I love
Yeah,
the ITC.
man,
rules.
ITC.
They saved us as TOs so much time.
Yeah, I love their missions. I love their scoring. I love that they have a painting rubric. It's really nice. It makes running the tournament a lot more easy, so you can kind of focus on.
We
on
definitely
just
saw
rules.
the flaw of our
pairing system sucks.
pairing system blows.
Yeah. It's terrible.
So GM Drew, we need your computer wizardry skills, I think, to make us a pairing system.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It's because what we had at the third round was a friggin' nightmare to try and pair people.
It was
And
not
Kyle
great.
does not a fan of me calling names off a list because occasionally I'm not perfect and I miss a name and then we have to repair everything.
Yep.
Twice, maybe.
Twice.
You had to repair the paireds.
Like, I got, like, to the end, and then he'd be like, oh, shit, I missed someone at the top. And we'd, like, repair the entire fucking round. And then the next round, you get to, like, the end, I'm like, wait, there's missing people. Oh, shit, I missed somebody at the top. And I was like, God damn it. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Seems
'Cause,
like
but,
an
you know-
easy thing to fix.
Yeah, it is, and it wasn't really a big deal, but, like, we're on
It's just
hour,
time
we're on
consuming.
hour, like, 8 or whatever, and I'm fucking exhausted. Like, so I'm not as interested in, spending more time pairing. Yeah, one of the big things, like you were saying, that was my takeaway is display boards. If you are playing in a Warhammer tournament between now and when the apocalypse comes, you should get a display board, man. It's easy to do.
And like Ryan has got a great display board that wasn't that hard to do.
No, like the Swan. Like, in full disclosure, I paid someone to do it because I had a time crunch. But no, like it took maybe a day and a half.
What is a display board? Is this just a
A
thing
display
you carry your
board-
miniatures around on or something?
Yeah, basically, it's almost exactly what it sounds like, right? So it's a board you place your miniatures on for display purposes. So in every tournament,
And it's got like terrain and
right, like
cool like design.
yeah, and it matches your bases if you want to win.
Yes.
It's basically a thing that you're displaying your army on, because basically every tournament after your first round, you're almost always going to be setting up and having your armies judged for painting points over your lunch break.
I've got to share on because I did all the paint judging yesterday, and so the matrix for the ITC matrix on the display board, one of the criteria is like, this display board matches the army, and then in parentheses they put, i.e. they did not borrow it from their buddy.
Yeah, I love the rubric. The
they kinda
rubric
have
is
smart-ass
super
things to say.
snarky and shit.
Yeah.
Like, the first thing on the rubric is, are they painted? Like, three colors minimum.
It's like D-.
Yeah, if
Great.
not, you can just stop here. Don't grade the rest of their army. They're a D- student. Like, if they're not fully painted, don't even waste your time looking at anything else. Which was heartbreaking because Ben Floyd has a beautiful Harlequin
Gorgeous
army.
army.
Super great. Loads
He
of
had
really
one
impressive
squad that
freehand.
wasn't painted.
Yeah, and he has conversions freehand, all sorts of great stuff. He had a display board, and he had 10 Eldar Guardians that just were like, they were primered white, and they had like a base coat on them. And it literally robbed him of the... He genuinely, because his army was good looking and had free-handed conversions, he would have won painting.
He probably would have won
because he had the display board. It would have put him over Will, and it would have put him over Nick if he just had those 10 guys.
And it's like Richard Coles had he had a mountain of greatly painted orcs, but he had some that weren't painted.
Yeah, like he had like a truck and like a mech boy and like one or two other little things that I saw that was like that just weren't painted, and it just robbed him.
Which I hate giving zeros on that. I really, really do. But it's not fair to the people that went the extra mile to get 3-color minimum on everything.
And it's worth saying too, guys, like if you're going to come and play in any of the tournaments, you don't have to be fully painted to play. It does make a big difference, though, right?
Does.
Like,
it's going to hurt.
If
how
you
well
are not fully painted, you are not going to win the whole tournament. You can be the best general. You can basically win. You can win second place, or you can win a sportsmanship award. But there's just no way you're winning overall if you're not fully painted.
Yeah,
and that means based too.
Yeah,
like
we saw a lot of armies, unfortunately, that were painted, and then the basing was just left blank, or And okay, having one flock or one paint color on it is okay.
It's the bare minimum.
It's the bare minimum, but you're losing a lot of, like, if you put a texture effect down and you add 2 different colors of grass or flock, you're already moving up to high level basing. It's so simple.
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot.
Yeah.
And if you're ever, curious, ask one of us.
Yeah.
Ask any of us at the store. Like, we'll certainly help you go over that. Another thing too is you can find the exact painting score rubric we're using on Frontline's website. Mm-hmm. Like, you can just go there and download it, and you can literally look at your own army and see what boxes you can check off. And basically, if there's things that you're not able to check off, then you know kind of where you want to move from there to improve on how do I make my army a better looking army, right? Nobody's saying you have to have crazy, Dave Taylor level of John Schaefer level of painting kind of stuff, right? Like, you don't have to be painting a Golden Demon army to win a painting award. You just have to be cohesive and, do a couple little extra things. Like a little extra time on your basing really helps.
Well, and I had one other thing I want to talk about before we move on, which is based on some feedback I got, is what is a fair versus an unfair army?
Oh yeah,
in
sure.
This type of environment.
So to touch on that, we played a gentleman's tournament yesterday, and the gentleman format is from Frontline Gaming, and essentially what it entails is a single battalion detachment in a non-cheesy form, which essentially basically like,
full disclosure, it's not my favorite way to play. I'd rather have 3 detachments.
It's not my favorite way to play either, but it definitely is popular.
But it's popular.
I get the appeal. Like, I just like extra detachments because
a lot of people call it kind of classic Hammer. Like,
before
Lords of War existed.
It feels very classic, right? Because you're not getting Lords of War, you're not getting crazy.
You have to have 3 troops.
Yeah. And essentially it's a no spam list, right? Like that's if you're wondering, is my list a gentlemanly list? Ask yourself, how many spammy things did you just do? Because if the answer is I spammed something, then no, it's not. Right? There's really that's kind of the hard and fast.
Somebody asked me, what is spam? Is 3 spam? Is 4 spam? And I think it's subjective. I think you know it when you see it. Like, right? If I see a list with only heavy supports are Dark Reapers heavy or elite?
They're heavy.
So if you only have Dark Reapers as your heavy, I'm going to say you're kind of spamming it. But let's say you have 4 Bright Lances. I don't see that as spamming it. That's just a weapon option.
Yeah, it's just
into a squad.
Yeah, it doesn't. Right. So like, yeah, you're right. There's definitely a difference. Like, if I take 4 squads of tactical marines, am I spamming? No, not really. It's just tactical marines. If I take 4 Devastator squads with 4 rockets each, am I spamming? Yes. Right.
And there's no right and wrong. There's no black and white.
Yeah, it's not clear cut. It's kind of one of those things you have to look at it and say this is or this isn't spam. Right. And I think that most people, because I had a lot of people, send me lists and say, hey, check this out. And there was not a single one of them that I had to send back and be like, this is not good, or you have to change this or that. Like, everybody, I think everybody took the challenge and said, I'm going to make a not cheesy list, and which isn't to say you can't make a good list. You're just basically making a not unfun to play against list. And everyone rose to that occasion, I think. Like, the lists all seem good to me.
They did. And after this tournament, the big FAQ going to change a lot.
Yeah, right. The big FAQ.
We didn't use it for this event.
Yeah, the big FAQ really kind of closes off a lot of the loopholes.
Like, it changes your army a lot, Ryan, don't you think?
Yes.
Like, what's it going to do to your force? He plays Death Guard.
I play Death Guard, and all my Poxwalkers cannot go over their max or their starting strength. So if I bring a squad of 10, they can't go over 10.
That hurts your army a lot.
That's a really big deal.
That's huge. Other than that, like, not much has changed. But here's the thing: my armies, I like bringing lots of Poxwalkers, so it kind of kicked it right in the nuts.
Well, I mean, does it or does it not? Right? Because like you can still bring all those Poxwalkers, you're just not getting extra Poxwalkers. So you can still bring them all.
Yeah,
you just can't go. I brought them all, and I killed a bunch of your guys, so I get more. Like,
yeah,
you can't
I know.
Do that,
like,
sure.
I'm not arguing. I understand the point, and I see why it's there. And
I can tell you why. Nick Nonavati ruined
and
that list for everybody.
He basically destroyed the fun for everybody.
He Poxwalker blossomed a little too hard.
Yep.
And GW was like, "Oh wait, that's really good. We better close that loophole."
Yeah. No, and I understand.
But I don't blame you. I don't blame Death Guard players being kind of pissed off about it.
I mean, yeah,
a couple guys literally ruined a main tactic that I don't think was abused for most Death Guard players.
No.
Most players weren't. I think it was definitely abused at the competitive level of the game.
Yeah, the
Maybe
seriously
more
high
like
levels.
at your local game store, like your friendly club and stuff like that. Like, I don't think it was getting abused there.
No,
but
like, hey, my unit went from 10 to 18.
It
was
cool,
like this broke
neat.
the game.
Yeah, but like when you have guys like Nick Nonavati's Poxwalker Blossom list where it's like literally tripling the amount of models.
How about the what happened to Tide of Traders? Like, fuck you, Alpha Legion. Was that ruling? You can only use it once per game now.
I don't see that as a big issue. I guess
I do.
Yeah, but you weren't even playing Tide of Trader lists.
I wasn't, but here's the thing: Chaos is my favorite army to play. And I feel like this shat all over Chaos for a couple of abusive people, and they're like, "Ha ha! All you Chaos players are now going to have a worse time."
Here's why I like it shitting on cultists. This is my counterpoint. I also love Chaos, but I love Chaos armies that are actually Chaos Space Marines.
I agree with you on that.
Because what I don't want to see is a bunch of Chaos Space Marine armies that are Chaos Space Marine in name only, where they're like, "What's your army?" Well, it's like 4 blobs of 40 cultists and then a couple demon princes. I hate that army build.
Yeah,
I hate it because it doesn't feel like Chaos Space Marines to me. It feels like a shitty, weird version of Imperial Guard with less cool guns and like some big monsters.
I agree, but why did we need to punish those guys? Like, I don't know about you, but I did not see any cultist armies that were winning major tournaments.
Yeah, every Alpha Legion army that was winning majors, like SoCal Open. There was
I don't
definitely
think any of them won. They did okay. But in the end, it's like, okay, I brought 40 cultists in your backfield. Whoop-de-doo, I have 3 flamers.
There's either the BAO or the SoCal Open was an Alpha Legion list with cultists at one.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Either way, they're the only Chaos list that was making it into the top 8.
And so now we'll just have no Chaos lists that make it into the top 8.
Maybe.
Like, that's my point.
But I would rather it be harder, I guess, and then like actually play against Chaos armies that are fun to play against, and that feel like Chaos Space Marine armies, than just see like, well, fuck it, you can just have all the cultists.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't have any problem with that. I don't like it thematically, and I don't like its storyline. I agree. It's fun to play Chaos Marine armies that actually have Chaos Marines in them. Yeah. But to me, it was like, again, just like what happened to Poxwalkers, you punish 3 or 4 people, in return, you basically shit on all of your Chaos Marine and Death Guard players.
I mean, that's kind of how everything works, though, right? Like, that's why the drinking age of 21. That's why you have to wear a seatbelt.
Yeah, but this is a game where people are trying to have fun.
Yeah, but I mean, some bad apples do ruin.
They did, and I think, unfortunately for Games Workshop, they reacted, in my mind, too heavy to those. I think I understood the Poxwalker Blossom shutdown. But I also think there were other ways to maybe address that. So, and the same with Tide of Traders. Like,
one rule that I really...
Once per game, give me a break.
One rule that I'm really happy with is the maximum 3 data sheets. Mm-hmm. I like that.
I do think that's a really good thing for the game.
I think it's really good too. I think that solves a lot of the spam problems. That probably could have solved the cultist problem in and of itself.
Yeah.
Except for they said
they're troops.
They're troops, so you can take as many as you want.
Yeah.
I think they could have. There's a scenario in my head where they could have limited troops too, but it would have made it really hard for some of the armies that don't have a lot of troops, like Necrons. They've only got 2 troops in Necrons. So.
That's true. They have.
I've heard the most complaining from our local players yesterday. I had 5 or 6 people complaining to me about it over the deep striking.
The deep strike one is people are very
upset about that.
Well, they're either very
elated
upset or
they're
don't
very
care.
upset. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've been playing an army this edition with a deep strike. Like I'm playing my AdMech. For me, I wasn't deep striking until turn 2 for the most part anyway, so it didn't really phase me. I can definitely see how it would be really frustrating for a lot of other players who are deep striking.
One of our players, Richard Coles, he said it essentially defeated an entire army he was getting ready to build. Like his Night Lords do not work now. Like, they cannot be played with this new thing. Also, I had
they certainly can't without drop pods, which they don't have, right?
Yeah.
That's
he was going to be deep striking heavily on them turn 1.
Oh, okay,
and,
gotcha.
The same with some of our Blood Angel guys, where they're kind of like Descent of Angels.
So
they got real hurt.
Blood Angels have stratagems that still let them get around that, though.
Yeah.
So it's not.
What's the stratagem that lets them get around?
I'll be completely honest. I don't know the name of it, but there is a stratagem that I don't have it in front of me because I don't have it in front of me. I don't want to just start quoting it.
Because our 2 Blood Angel players and 1 Grey Knight player yesterday are like our armies are unplayable, which I think is a bit of an overstatement. But it does hurt them.
I still don't think Grey Knights are unplayable.
I don't either because I'm sitting here.
You have to deep strike on turn 2 now. I don't see that as a big problem for the Grey Knights because the Grey Knights. They're really not relying that much on deep strike, and they can still gate Infinity if they really needed to turn 1 assault.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if you need a turn 1 assault,
you just gate.
You have a Land Raider full of Paladins, and you gate the Land Raider, and the Paladin.
Well, you can't.
But I'm just saying, like,
you don't gate the Land Raider.
Right,
you just gate the Paladins. Like you can still do it.
Here, I don't know. I think it's a huge blow to Grey Knights, and here's why: because what they deploy is not super tough and resilient. What they land in front of you is usually the tough and resilient. So having to wait till turn 2 to basically put your sure you could gate 1 unit. I don't think anybody is going to feel super threatened by 1 unit. I just don't believe it.
But
I'm not saying they will.
Yeah.
If you're using interceptors, guess what? You have your shunt. You're in their face anyway.
But interceptors are garbage, hot garbage.
Actually,
they're tactical Marines that can shunt.
Tactical Marines are hot garbage.
Actually,
Power armored one guys right now are sucky.
Sorry, your Stormbolter, force weapon, psyker in your face.
I think they're actually reasonable.
I'm gonna just agree to disagree with both you guys and say they blow, and I'll take any army on any time and beat it. So, because it's a joke. What's scary are Dread Knights. Dread Knights now can't come down till turn 2, which means if I'm a shooting army, I will table what you have on the turn, or at least maim the hell out of it, whatever you have on the table.
I do think it's worth saying to not discount the interceptors by throwing a bunch of guys up there who just are getting good smites off. Like
by good smites, 1 wound.
It's still extra wounds.
Oh, Kyle. You're just objectively wrong, my friend. I'm sorry.
I mean, our Grey Knights listed at Adepticon, I think, disproved that. Like,
because it was playing either with... Most of the time, it was playing with Guilliman and Celestine. That makes Grey Knights a hell of a lot better with Guilliman and Celestine.
It pulled its own weight, though.
You know what it also makes better with Grey Knights?
What's that?
A bunch of Custodes that can land right next to them on turn 1, which they can't do anymore. But that also made them a lot better, too. Having backfield troops that don't just die right away.
Sure.
I mean, can Grey Knights win? Yes. Are they a good army? No. I'd put them in the bottom 3 armies of 40k right now.
Oh, bottom 3? I don't know about that. There's more than 3 index armies, so I think they're better than most index armies still.
Well, here's the thing. I'm trying to think of what's worse, and the only one that's immediately coming to mind is Deathwatch.
I still think there's several
Death Watch,
things in it.
give
Space
me-
Wolves.
I don't think Space Wolves are worse.
They are.
Yeah, I
No,
don't think
they're
very
very
good.
rough right
Okay,
now.
well let's agree. We'll put them in the bottom 3. So give me something that moves them out of the bottom 3.
I still think orcs. I think they're better than orcs.
I don't think so. I think the orcs have some builds that can do very well.
The orcs have one build. That's the problem.
One build is better than the whole Grey Knight Codex.
But it's doing the exact same thing the Grey Knight Codex is doing. It's chucking one squad a turn across the table. That's what it does.
yeah, but it's chucking a massive number of bodies.
It's chucking tops 30 guys, which is
Yeah.
good, except that they're definitely going to go down just as fast or faster than 10 Grey Knights.
I mean, like if you threw 10 Grey Knight Interceptors at me, like even with my Thousand Sons, which are also a hot garbage army, they did get better with the big FAQ, I think. But I open up with a squad of 10 bolters on your interceptors, and I think I kill most of them.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
Like I do. Like
I think,
they get a 5-up save. That's it against my wounds.
but nobody else is playing Thousand Sons, right? Like there is something to be said
take
for having.
guard, Hellblasters, Primaris.
There's a lot to be said for having the Thousand Sons bolter. It's a good bolter. Like it is a really good bolter. Like if you're hitting them with just las guns, I don't see las guns as threatening as the ensorcelled bolter. Like las guns are just las guns.
But if I'm firing las guns at your guys with a 3-up save with 1 wound, I'm probably firing 40 or 60 or 80 of them. I also probably have auto cannons. I have las cannons. I probably have a Lehman Russ or 2 hanging out there as well.
You're right. Grey Knights are terrible. Guys, don't play Grey Knights.
Good. I'm glad we settled that. You heard it here first. on
CJ
Oracles
is
of
correct.
Olympus.
There's no redeemable quality about that army.
Can they potentially win? Yes. Are they extremely difficult to play with? I think they are. And the one really cool tactic they had is I just put 4 Dread Knights in your face turn 1. And that's gone now. Because, yeah, you can do it on turn 2, but what's your sacrificial lamb in the backfield? I think there's an argument to be made that whatever you put in the backfield, you put into a fortification now. And that makes it harder to kill. Like, I honestly think people underplay fortifications if you have a weak backfield presence.
Very true.
I think the debate's
Overall,
done.
good tournament.
Overall, good tournament.
Good tournament. Yes.
Outstanding. We have Avengers this week.
We do have Avengers this week.
Thursday.
I'm
Thursday.
kind of excited. I'm not that excited.
You're not that excited?
I'm more excited for Deadpool and Solo.
I'm excited for this movie because it's sort of like the crown jewel in the last 10 years of movies I've been watching. Right? Like, and then after, well, it is, right? Everything has been leading to this one point.
Yeah.
Like, every Marvel movie you've seen since 2008 or whatever.
Is this finishing it, or is
Yeah,
this...
this is the end of the entire phase.
I thought there was a part 2.
Sure, but I don't think it's going to be with all the same actors, put it that way.
Oh, right. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is kind of the
Spoiler
the conclusion.
No, I mean,
No.
somebody's going to
No,
die,
I was
but it'll
gonna
be
say,
like...
spoiler alert. People are gonna die a lot, and
it's just going to be like Hawkeye or something.
yeah.
It'll be a character that won't be like super crucial. Like that's how comics work, dude.
Yeah.
Right?
Something
Like,
that makes everybody cry and be depressed, but nothing that really effectively changed the storyline.
right. Like in Vision, because who cares?
You know, Vision.
Yeah, Vision's 100% gonna die. He died in the trailer.
Yeah, sure.
So, spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. I'm pretty sure Hawkeye and Vision are corpses. I'll put money down on that.
So I guess I'll throw out my reasoning of why I'm not as excited. I think part of the reason I generally have more fun with the movies that are dedicated into one area. Like I love Deadpool. I loved Guardians of the Galaxy. I have a ton of fun with the new Thor. But Avengers, kind of the whole Civil War and all that stuff was great. But of them, I almost preferred like the Thor movie or the Guardians of the Galaxy. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope this is like the movie to end all
It's
movies.
almost like... Cause
It's almost like too much is going on.
Those movies that you talked about, like Deadpool and Guardians, definitely have their own tone.
They do.
Guardians definitely has a tone of... You know, what Deadpool does too, of just crass humor. But Guardians has got the whole soundtrack that helps kind of tie the whole thing together.
Yeah.
Could this be the movie of too many stars?
That's a little what I'm wondering. Like, does
Right,
it
like-
kind of get washed out?
They're like trying to squeeze in the Avengers and the new Avengers and
the
Guardians and like all of these characters. Like, could it just be too much? Who knows?
That's kind of what I'm
possible.
thinking and worrying about.
Well, especially,
Certainly possible.
if you've got a favorite, you're not
And you
gonna
get
be
like 3
satisfied.
minutes of them on screen.
Exactly,
Yeah.
the screen time.
Right.
I want it to be good, and I think it'll be good. I'm just like, I hope it's not too much. Which it might be. I don't know. I have a feeling I'll either leave it going or like this is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Like I think it's gonna be one extreme or the other.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we'll definitely hear a lot of complaints about people going, well, I really like Captain America, but he was in it for like 20 minutes because they had to go to Wakanda and they had to go to other places and it only showed Captain America fighting for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Of a 2.5 hour movie or something.
Well, and I
like
don't
that.
know how long it is, but I feel like this.
Yeah, did we get it running?
I
feel
imagine
like it
it's going
should
to be like
be-
6 hours long.
I was kind of hoping that we get like smoke breaks every 2 hours,
Right?
and there's like a half-hour intermission
Yeah,
for
there's
food.
an intermission
like-
so you can get up and take a piss without missing something important.
Yeah.
Like, I went pee and I missed the only scene with Thor. No!
I really miss intermissions.
It's 2 hours 40 minutes.
God damn.
It's long.
Dang.
That's a Peter Jackson level.
That is, yeah.
That's like
lengthy.
that's like Hateful Eight level.
Yeah.
That movie's like
That movie was really long too,
yeah.
yeah.
Did you know in theaters, for most theaters, they had to actually have an intermission for that movie?
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. They had a real intermission for that movie.
Real people.
When I was a little kid, I saw Gettysburg with my dad, and they had an intermission.
Yeah.
And
That was also
Yes.
that was
That was
actually
like
like
4
a
hours.
4-hour-long movie. Though.
People gotta pee, man.
Yeah, you do. My dad went out and smoked, and we got more popcorn, and everyone's kind of chatting in the lobby, like, "How about that Pickett's charge?" Like stuff like that.
How about that Pickett's charge, boys?
we sure weren't sure if Chamberlain was going to hold Little Round Top Hill on that.
Man, that
was a-
swinging that left gate charge down the hill really broke the Confederate line. Really impressive.
that was a near-run thing.
Yeah, they had no ammunition left. Just had to charge right down the hill.
But I miss intermissions. Like, it'd be fun almost to be like, I really need to use the bathroom. Because I've totally had moments where,
It's
I've
fine.
totally had moments where I have...
For those of you who didn't see, because you're listening, CJ just spit all over my face.
it wasn't even intentional this time.
Yeah. He was just talking, got real excited.
I did.
Pretty
I
slobbery.
got real excited. Suppose the last time Ryan tabled me, I was like, "Purr."
Spit on the gold coins, throw it at him, and say, "Here's your money."
It's like, thank you, but that was rude.
Don't have to be rude.
But haven't you all had those times where you're coming up on the end of a movie, the finale, and you gotta piss like a racehorse?
Oh,
and
yes.
you're just
Oh, yeah.
holding it, and it's starting to get uncomfortable, but you're like, no.
Yeah, I tried to figure out what the last movie I saw that was really long was. It might have been Force Awakens, and I think my back teeth were floating. I was just like, God, it'd be so bad. But it's one of those things like you can't just get up and leave.
No.
This isn't some movie I don't give a shit about, right?
You never know when to go. Like, what are you gonna miss?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like,
I left. I think
hopefully I
Avengers.
go
I
now.
left the whole Loki and Black Widow scene when he called her a mewling quim.
Oh yeah,
Missed that.
that was a great line.
Yep. I try to use that at least once a week.
Ooh, mewling Quim,
Yeah.
nailed it.
Look up Quim. Look up Quim, everybody.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, new Deadpool trailer. If you haven't seen it, go see it because
Good.
it's pretty good.
It's good.
I almost wish I didn't watch the trailer, man.
Yeah.
I want trailer blackness. Now.
I'm happy that Depinder's back. Sorry, I got thrown off by the dog.
You're happy that what's back?
Depinder,
Sure.
the taxi driver.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorite characters because he turned into a homicidal kidnapper in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
I
good.
was like, ooh,
Just
plot
like most
twist.
cabbies.
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
like, ooh,
So
plot
this
twist.
is turning into I don't know comic book groups very well, but X Factor,
Well,
Engage Kyle,
Engage Ultra Nerd.
Well, actually,
X Factor with the characters.
Are you
Learn
are
me.
you attempting to say
Learn me.
X Force? Is that what you're trying
Yes.
to do? Holy
Yes.
shit! Yeah, there's some X Force characters in this. Jesus Christ, Drew! You
Isn't there
a
an X
fucking
Factor
book.
thing too?
Yeah, but it's not that.
Oh, all right.
actually,
Excuse me, but that is X Force. And I hope to see Deadpool's black and white costume in this movie. That would make me stupendously excited. So long as they are accurate with the costume and how it should look according to the comic books. I am already disappointed that Domino does not have her trademark face paint in any of the previews. God.
that boy ain't right.
Right? The previews do look really good, though.
Yeah.
Really good. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. Like,
Yeah,
he
right.
just-
Like,
he
if ever
carries
there was
that
a,
franchise.
He gets it.
if ever there was
Yes.
someone born to play that role.
Well, yeah, like actually, I read a really funny article about how Ryan Reynolds is actually Deadpool. They're both from Canada.
Okay.
They're both born in the same month that, in like storyline wise, Ryan Reynolds absolutely loved Deadpool growing up. Like there was so much stuff that was really weird parallels. So I mean, I just say Fate. It's the Fate books of Fate.
Yeah.
It's a good preview. You should definitely go watch it.
So then we also have, this is like the preview episode.
Yeah. We have the Han Solo.
We have Han Solo's new preview.
Yep, we sure do.
I'm really excited, but I love all Star Wars.
The one thing that stood out to me the most that I thought was really interesting was Han Solo's voice, because it felt, I don't know if he's like doing a voice or whatever, but like it felt kind of like believable as Harrison Ford.
I think he was trying to use
I think
mannerisms.
I think he's definitely
of-
trying to like
of Harrison
Yeah,
Ford.
He did.
It was to me, and again, it was just a preview, so we'll see how it all turns out. To me, it sounded believable, and I was like, "Oh, I like that. That's a good touch, right?" Like, because he doesn't really look too much like Harrison Ford, but the voice thing that had helped me.
And then also like the mannerisms where he's walking through like the cantina and he has his hands on his belt.
Yeah.
It was very Harrison Fordy.
Yeah.
Which that's got to be a tough role as an actor, right?
Yes,
because
Harrison Fordy.
they basically, the casting role is, we need you to be Harrison Ford. We know you're not Harrison Ford, but we need you to be Harrison Ford.
Right.
That's probably tough.
Those are big boots to fill.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good preview.
It is a really good preview. Let's talk about a new type of stormtrooper that we saw.
There's a train trooper.
There's a
Train
train
troopers,
trooper.
they're Magna Boot troopers, thank you. They're magnetic locking boots and short trooper helmets. Here's the problem, guys. Here's what's
I
wrong.
hope you all are sitting
You're
down.
the Lewis Black of our podcast.
he is.
I'm gonna channel my inner Lewis Black for a second. Here's the problem, guys. If you ever wondered why the Empire can't beat the Rebels, it's because they're too busy making fucking 800 different types of Stormtrooper armor. Why the fuck do we have 800 different types? Here's the thing, right? We've got Stormtroopers, Snow Troopers, Scout Troopers, Bike Troopers, Beach Troopers, Shore Troopers, Black
Snow
Troopers,
Scout
Death
Troopers,
Troopers, Snow
Space
Scout
Troopers.
Troopers, Magna Boot Troopers. There's like a million fucking kinds of Stormtrooper. How do we not just have one suit of armor that just works everywhere, right? Like,
Yeah, like
you
power
cannot
armor.
fucking tell me that they need a new set of armor for every place they go. Half of every goddamn Imperial Star Destroyer is just a fucking armory with suits of armor for the 100 Stormtroopers they have. They're like, what if we need to go to an ice planet? Here's all of our ice armor. Like,
Can you think of what of a quartermaster nightmare that is on a Star Destroyer?
it has to be
Like you're just
a
going through
fucking
the
nightmare.
shelves and you're like, shit, this is the shore trooper armor.
It's also a nightmare for every Stormtrooper because they're like, all right, Stormtrooper, we're going to spend the next 18 weeks qualifying you on all 60 different sets of armor you'll need to know the functions of. Like, holy
that
shit.
would be awful.
Yeah, it would be terrible. Like,
You walk into class, here's the introductory class to your scout armor.
Right,
Scout
let's-
armor and you.
today we're going to just talk about the body glove you'll be wearing under half of the armor.
The sweat wicking material
Not to
works
be-
great in the desert.
Not to be confused with the thermal body armor
Oh
you'll be
my
wearing
god,
for
could you
snow
imagine the
troopers.
training videos? Like the Emperor walks up, he's like, hello.
Good evening, Stormtrooper. And all the Stormtroopers in the class simultaneously are like, my lord?
They're like, today we'll learn about the scout armor. And they're like, take it away, General. And like just walks off. Like, it was so good.
Oh my god. Like, can you imagine, like, at some point, like, the
You just put them all in a room and
bureaucracy,
you hit play.
Yep.
the bureaucracy behind the scenes, like the beginning of the Empire, they're like, we'll need new armor for equipping our clones. There's something really cool like Stormtrooper armor. They're like, all right, put out a bid. We'll start accepting bids and we'll go with the lowest bidder, right? Like any other government contract.
yeah.
But then they got like 1,000 bids and they're like, we can't decide. They're all cool. Fuck it, build them all. Like, why not have a special armor of just snow troopers? Like, because they have to carry all that shit with them, right? Like every Imperial Star Destroyer has to be loaded with all these different fucking types of armor.
Now
because you can't get to
go
Hoth.
back to the ship.
You
now,
can't get
or
to
back
Hoth
the-
and open your fucking crates of armor and be like, shit, shore trooper armor.
Damn it, they sent us the wrong one.
Oh, we'll all freeze to death
They're
now.
trudging through the snow. This sucks. Like,
How? Let's get really honest here. Galactic Empire, how the fuck haven't you built one suit of armor to rule them all? Even in the First Order, we've already seen like First Order Trooper, First Order Snow Trooper.
Flamethrower Trooper.
Yeah, Flamethrower Trooper. His armor's different. Why?
Here's another thing.
It's a gun. He's got a different gun. Why is his armor different? What the fuck?
What if they have to conquer a planet with different climates?
Oh no! It's got variable weather. It's not all a desert. What do we do?
Does not compute.
Holy shit! You mean there's not? This whole place isn't just a frozen tundra. There's places on the planet that are warm too.
I just see.
We're not equipped for this. We're not equipped for this.
Baggage trains that are like a mile long, hauling all the fucking armor.
Like that's what the AT-ATs on Scarif, the cargo ones. The cargo AT-ATs are just full of different fucking suits of armor. They're like, oh man, we got a shipment of the wrong stuff. They sent us snow trooper armor, and we're on Scarif. They're like loading up AT-ATs with like fucking random suits of armor they don't need because it's just shore troopers. But even on Scarif, there were shore troopers and regular troopers.
Literally ever gets caught with its pants down, like they're campaigning on a world, and they go from the desert to like the jungle, and they're like, all right guys, switch your armor, and they're like in the middle of changing armor when the rebels check, they're like, oh fuck, like trying to just caldrons on and stuff.
Could you imagine the rebels are like planning that? They're just like, yeah okay, here we're gonna retreat back into the jungle from
as soon as they take their
beach.
pants off, we'll start shooting
from the beach, and the troopers are like, shit, we have to change, and the rebels are like, now!
Now's the time. I'm just saying.
That's why the rebels don't have armor.
I'm just saying.
That works everywhere.
I've solved why the Galactic Empire can't put down the rebellion. They're way too focused on all this bullshit logistics. And red tape.
It's basically bureaucracy gone amok.
Oh my god. So like literally like we're watching this preview and I see like the Magna Boot troopers are like it's like a snow trooper mixed with a shore trooper. I'm like why?
With magnet boots.
Fucking why? First of all, why aren't all stormtroopers boots magnetic? Let's start there.
Like,
why the
also,
fuck if you're gonna
why
spend...
don't you have that toggled at all? Like just a toggle on every suit.
As you pointed out, I'm like, why don't we just give everyone a DLT? Like
yeah, right. Like we were talking about like
win.
Like the basic stormtrooper blast, the
E11,
E11. It's a fine thing, but like it's literally basically it's an oversized pistol.
Yeah.
Right. It's supposed to be a carbine, but like it's all hip fire. Yeah. Like if you're equipping,
turns out it's not the most accurate.
Yeah. Right. Like basically you just designed your space army to be 1941 Russians. Like it's a bunch of untrained fucking dudes with like hip firing machine guns. Like that's what they got.
They have the right armor on for the occasion.
Yeah. Right. Like they look good, but like why? Right. We were looking at like the stats for like the stormtroopers in Legion, and like your whole squad's got E11s except one guy's got the DLT,
which is really good.
And I'm like, why the fuck doesn't everyone just have the DLT? Because literally that guy also still has an E11 on his hip.
Yep.
I'm like, why the fuck is this the standard weapon that we're issuing? Like literally, like the clone troopers had full on rifles,
they did.
and that's why they were accurate. See, this is why stormtroopers always miss. They've got a gun without a stock. They're just hip firing
really
all the time.
good from Rogue One. Yeah,
exactly.
Literally,
and why are they good? They have a stock.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it is. They can actually aim because they have something to brace the weapon with. It's not just like firing from the hip, like, oh boy, I hope we get them.
It's like keep firing, boys.
Yeah, right. Like we'll just put down so many lasers that they can't possibly miss.
That type of armament just reminds me of like the Russians defending Stalingrad.
Yeah.
They're like, you get rifle, you get bullet. You get rifle, you get bullet.
Yeah.
Like
it's. It's so... I just don't understand.
Once the rifleman dies, the guy with the bullets picks up the rifle, reloads
and
the weapon, and
right.
shoots. Like Soviet style.
I'm sure Danny will explain all these things to me and why there's 8 million fucking sets of armor.
Yeah.
And like why they can't all have DLTs. Yeah. Why they have to have E11. I know that Danny will tell me why. But
we should have Danny on to do a Stormtrooper extravaganza episode.
Oh man, I can't rationalize it in my head, like all the different sets of armor. Like, and I'm sure somewhere out there people are like, oh, well, actually, there are separate regiments of snow troopers. There were just snow troopers. Well, that's also fucking stupid. That is like, well, we can't get any forces nearby to assault the moon of Yavin. Well, there's actually a bunch of snow troopers. Well, they'd all just melt to death. They would just die of heat exhaustion in minutes with those thermal armors.
Do you think they ever show up for muster and you've got the right armor on, but your officer notices you're wearing the wrong garment, and you're like,
that
get
would
back
happen.
and change.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah. You're like, I hope he doesn't notice my sleeves aren't rolled to perfect like half inch.
Stormtrooper, you were out of rigs.
And you're like, oh no.
So the Solo movie's coming out.
Yeah, Solo movie's coming out with some new stormtroopers in it.
Damn it! Stop hurting us in a direction. I'm a wild beast and I want to run free.
Well, Peacock, you gotta let me fly.
Word of the last word, everybody.
All right.
What?
Yeah.
We don't have the assault on Planet O yet.
We don't.
There's a segment coming sometime, I guess,
Next week.
called the assault on Planet O. Next
It
week.
was next week, last week.
Yep, it'll be next week.
Okay.
The assault on Planet O. If you are curious as to what the assault on Planet O is, bug GM Drew. You're like, GM Drew, why haven't you finished
Every
the intro
time
to
you
assault
see
on
him.
Planet O?
Every time you see him, ask him.
He'll love it.
Do it.
He'll be really excited.
Do it.
We
And
still
he'll
need to
thank you.
do, speaking of Danny, we should do no comics for old men sometime.
We do need to do the No Comics for Old Men segment. That is a thing. It ostensibly is also coming.
Yes.
What do you got? What do you got for a last word, CJ?
What do I have for the last word? I'm stalling for time here. Somebody else can
You
go.
always hit
Ryan, why don't you go first?
My last word is something that I got crapped on real hard right before we started recording. Was on the Solo preview. It weirded me out that.
Oh my God.
dude! It weirded me out.
Jesus
So
Christ.
literally everything they're telling you, even in the original Star Wars movie. So if you haven't seen it, there's a part where like Chewbacca's about to fall off a train, and Han like grabs his hand. He's like, "I got you, buddy." Like in all the Star Wars movies, it has in the introduction when Solo goes, "Hey, this is Chewbacca. Careful when he gets real mad, he'll tear your arms off." And, like, he's just a giant muscle-bound mountain ape, and then, like, some 200-pound guy's gonna catch him. You're like,
he's part dog.
oh, okay, sorry. No, like, that's like me trying to catch a silverback gorilla off a train. That's not gonna happen.
I literally love that this is where Star Wars breaks. Where you're like, Han Solo
No,
couldn't catch
that's
that.
not where it
Wookiee.
breaks.
He's
It's
too
just
heavy.
like-
It's like, no, not all
No,
the
here's the
aliens.
thing. It's not
the
where-
fucking hyperspace. Not the
No,
hovercraft.
it's not where it
It's that
breaks.
you can't catch the
It's just you
goddamn
can't
Wookiee.
break your own rules that you set up.
Oh,
You're
you
like,
are so wrong. That's what they invented Star Wars for. It breaks its own rules all the fucking time.
You can't. Those bug me too.
Wait,
but
but are you saying that Han Solo couldn't possibly be Force sensitive? What if he's using Force strength?
don't. Oh,
Ben Solo has the Force.
maybe that's why he's such a good smuggler. He can
Yeah,
sense
he's
people
such a
looking
good
for the
pilot. He
cargo.
can sense
He
it.
can sense it.
Yeah, you can't fucking tell me in a universe with the Force and midi-chlorians that they don't break their own rules.
Just so
Suck
you,
my balls, buddy.
just so you all know who haven't met him, Ryan is a professional strongman. So this was, I think,
Not
something.
a professional strongman.
I'm trying to build you up, buddy.
Holy crap!
I'm trying to
Ryan
build
is
you
an
up.
amateur strongman.
Amateur. To say I'm professional is like, oh yeah, I once drove a Ford Fiesta, and you're like, I'm a pro NASCAR driver. Like, it's completely different.
So
Yeah, I drove a Monte Carlo once, so that means I'm pretty much a NASCAR driver.
At least a
So,
lowrider enthusiast.
Ryan is a part-time semi-professional
Part-time.
strongman. And so this is something I think only somebody who lifts heavy shit all day would notice. Like, he immediately sees him holding Chewbacca,
right.
and he's like, oh, fuck, you couldn't hold that.
Yeah, it's funny because like that is exactly what goes through Ryan's mind, and neither CGI or like even think about. Like I'm thinking the whole time, like, why doesn't Han Solo have Magna boots? Like
Yeah.
everyone else does. Like,
Kyle and I would be
Why is
much
it
better
chewy?
off if there was like a buffet scene, and they'd be like, there's no way you could eat that much.
yeah, I'd be like,
Yeah.
well, that just wouldn't keep in a buffet. That doesn't make sense. Why doesn't
Shrimp
Chewie
has
have
been out for
shoes?
8 hours?
Right?
That's not healthy.
I'm like, does Chewie never get Magna boots because he just doesn't wear shoes, or is he wearing shoes under all that fur? Like, I don't know.
What's your last word, Kyle?
My last word is thanks for listening, listeners. We love you. Please
God,
like,
that was a
please like,
fucking
comment, and
cop-out.
subscribe because
always
we
your
really,
last
really
word.
need it. Like
One of these days you have to come up with a real last word.
no,
Just
I don't.
thanking
My
people.
last word can always be thanking our listeners because I love them.
You know what? Here's the thing, though.
That's why I'm a man of the people.
We can thank our listeners at the end without actually having it be the last word. I know that's revolutionary to you.
But nobody else ever does it, so I'm here. I
Well,
am.
you
no,
will.
we were gonna do.
I
we
would
can
think that,
do
but
it
you always
after-
do it.
My last word is that I always thank you.
Oh God! Don't believe it. Don't believe
I
it's
don't.
crap,
I
people.
don't want to eat you in
Drew,
an
what do you
apocalyptic
got?
situation.
He
I'm
will
not
totally-
done. I'm not done with my last word.
Oh well, that seemed finale.
I'm working up to it. I get more than one little last thing here. That's all I'm saying. Now I'm done.
because
Thank
he
you.
said he's done, not because you told him to.
So in 2 weeks, I will be in Austin at Chupacabra Con. I finally got. I had to pause for that.
Yeah. The donkey trail to Chupacabra Con.
And you just have to have a donkey like
Howdy there, partner. Are you ready to go to Chupacabra Con?
I just totally got an image of Drew riding a donkey down to Austin
In a serape.
with like a giant hat, like one of those weird blanket things.
But he's side saddling it.
Yeah, he's side saddling it down. There's just these saddlebags full of D&D books.
yes.
Just hoping the Apaches don't get him.
Oh man, they're scalpers too.
They
You gotta
are.
watch out for the Apaches. They're real dangerous.
I'm more concerned about my Southwest flight.
Yeah,
right?
kidding. Woo! That could actually be my real last word. I felt really bad because like last podcast I talked about planes blowing up, especially engines, and like that would be how I would assume I would die on a plane. And then lo and behold, the day before our podcast released, a plane engine blows up and kills somebody. And I was like, oh, well, that was poor timing on my part.
Yeah.
Don't you ever talk about train derailments.
Oh my god! Like I always think of Unbreakable when I think of getting on. Like the second we got on that train, I was like, "This is gonna be just like Unbreakable, and I'll be the one survivor."
And he's
'cause
eating
train
the corpses
derails.
of
Yeah, right, well, I don't.
like random Iowa.
I won't know what else to do. I'm not gonna fucking go to someone in Iowa.
You're not going to go knock on a farmhouse that'll inevitably be like 20 feet away?
No, because I'll end up having to live there for 40 years. They'll be
Like,
like, well,
your life will just be there.
right? The Iowans, the native
Hold-
Iowans, are
hold
like,
on.
well, stranger, we can put you up for the night, but you'll have to work off the debt. I'm like, and then I'll have to eat a meal, and they're like, well, that'll cost you too. More time in the cornfields. Then I'll need some work gloves. They'll be like, well, I suppose we can supply you those, but that's going to add up to that debt.
Like 45 years later, you're just in a rocking chair with a gray beard on
Yeah,
a porch
right.
of a farmhouse.
Fucking
Like, I
stuck
remember
in,
when
I'd rather
the
just
train disaster of 2018.
right. I'd rather just eat all the corpses and then wander down the tracks for a couple days.
It's now 2068, yeah.
Right.
Well, in his
2068.
defense too, I also wouldn't want to knock on random houses' doors because that's kind of how you find those backwoods like.
That's
random
how Buffalo
crazy.
Bill
Yeah,
gets
I was gonna
started.
say that's how Buffalo Bill. Like they just knocked on his random house and they're like, "Can I help you?" You're like, "Oh!"
Do you like John Q. Lazarus albums?
You're like, "Oh, I gotta go."
I'm heading back to the train wreck.
Yeah, the train wreck it is.
So, Chupacabra Con.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to.
No.
We railroaded.
I finally got my
Yeah, we
schedule. Railroad.
Get wrecked.
I finally got my schedule, I think, solidified. Playing Call of Cthulhu the first day.
Oh, nice.
It's a good one.
A couple games.
It's a good
of
RPG.
that. I'm going to try Torg Eternity. Which
Torg
is,
Eternity? Mm-hmm. Is that related to Borderlands Torg, like Mr. Torg?
I do not believe so.
If it's not, then I don't care.
Okay. And
Gonna blow up the oceans for reasons.
like
Shoot.
I use these conventions to try out new games, so a lot of this stuff I've never played before. Fantasy Age, which is the one Will Wheaton uses for his RPG
Do you
show.
like traveling to faraway cities and experimenting with things you've never tried before?
I do.
Huh.
Wesley Crusher.
Wesley Crusher,
Yeah.
Teenage Fuck Machine.
And then the rest of it is Savage Worlds. And then I've got a couple panels I'm going to go to.
Have you never heard that?
So I'll talk about that when I get back. I'll talk about the panels, and some of it is Warhammer 40K RPG related. That I know some of you are.
Can't wait.
I can't believe you've never heard of Wesley Crusher Teenage Fuck Machine. No. It's a,
Oh my
it's
God.
a Wesley. No, it's
Is that
great.
what you guys were talking about?
Yeah, it's a
Fuck you
Wesley
guys.
Crusher fanfic. And it is Wesley Crusher. If you can find this book online. If you haven't read Wesley Crusher Teenage Fuck Machine, I highly recommend it. It's a fanfic. Do not bring it up to Will Wheaton though; he gets real pissed when we talk about it. Real pissed. he does not approve of Wesley Crusher just basically throwing the D around.
Yeah.
What do you got, CJ?
All right, so what do I got that I came up with in the last 3 minutes? I was thinking about it in the shower this morning, and I just couldn't come up with anything. But I thought of something now, and that is play Shadespire. It is such an awesome game.
It is really good.
It is,
I am actually thinking about
Are you
trying it
The
out.
more I play
You
it,
should-
the more I like it.
It's super good. You should definitely get into it. It's kind of like I feel like it's like the right miniature game for you because like it's just enough miniatures, right? Like you don't have to do a ton of stuff because you're
Take the
you're
best
more of an
parts of
RPG
Magic,
guy.
Right.
It's-
the best
it's so
parts
it
of
lets you
RPG, and the
dabble.
best parts of minis, and put them together in Shadespire.
Sure.
It lets
It's
you
like
dabble.
Magic,
Like if
but
you
fun.
want, if you're looking for a miniatures game, and you want to just kind of dabble and get into miniatures,
Yeah.
Shadespire is probably the easiest one. Like,
It is.
You can get the core
The
set
deck
for
building
$60.
component's
It's
fun.
good.
The card interactions are great.
They are, yeah. There's
The
a lot
models
of
are beautiful.
yeah, a lot of great looking models, a lot of great components.
It's what we're
Really
going to
cool.
do after this.
Yeah, literally, I'm gonna go play Shadespire after this, and then I'm gonna go watch the Avs play Game 6 and hopefully not get crushed.
That would be nice.
It would be really nice because if they don't win tonight, then
I like
they're
proving
out.
the superiority of the Mountain West over all other regions. So
That's against Nashville, and
So,
after
yeah.
the last game I went and watched with Nashville, I can officially say fuck those guys.
Good.
Not necessarily Nashville themselves,
Yeah.
but just the team, the Preds.
They have great food.
They do, and some
Great
great music,
alcohol,
great
too, and
music,
good music.
Like, but their hockey team, scumbags.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck
I
those
think
guys.
that's a wrap for episode 13.
I think that is a wrap, everybody.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Don't play Grey Knights.
Like, comment, subscribe. I'd love it if you comment and told CJ why Grey Knights are actually useful.
Also,
Prove me why I'm wrong, everybody.
Prove me wrong, meme.
I'll make you a deal. If you can come in and play me with Grey Knights and beat me, I will buy you something.
deal. I own
No,
Grey
no.
Knights, and
What do we get to? Yeah, what do we have? What do we
I will
do
buy
now?
you a value meal of $5 or less. as your
Deal.
victory
Yo,
price.
you put food on the
Deal.
table. It's done.
Right. It also,
Ryan heard food and his eyes got real big.
Yeah, Ryan is basically hungry 24/7.
It's true.
My flow chart is Ryan hungry? If no, dead. If yes, continue down the line.
We'll see you next week, everybody.
Goodbye.
See you guys.